Imagine you wake up tomorrow morning and you've suddenly been transformed into the heiress of a monumental fashion fortune to the tune of $400 million. At first, naturally, it would be an immensely wonderful change. You're jet-setting to Paris Fashion Week, draped in designer clothes with your name etched into their seams. Private islands, exclusive parties, and endless shopping sprees are just the beginning of this glamorous new life. Surely you'd revel in the luxury because who wouldn't? But what if, soon thereafter, you were to find out that your dream life came with a dark twist? Picture, if you will, amidst the glittering lights of fame and fortune, secretly battling a debilitating illness. Indeed, Lyme disease, an invisible affliction that turns simple daily tasks into exhausting feats of endurance, can leave you fighting both physically and emotionally. Suddenly, your stylish riches and globe-trotting lifestyle could feel like a cage, trapping you in a body that refuses to cooperate. A similar story is, in fact, the tale of Ali Hilfiger, the heiress to the Tommy Hilfiger empire. In today's episode, we'll share the full background, how, while most saw a young woman with the world at her feet, behind the scenes, she was waging a private war that would redefine the very meaning of wealth and success as we describe the hidden heiress to the $400 million Tommy Hilfiger empire, Ali Hilfiger. Ali Hilfiger, the daughter of preppy fashion kingpin Tommy Hilfiger, could have easily spent her life basking in the glow of her father's mega success. After all, Tommy is not just any fashion mogul, he's the man who built a $6 billion empire from a simple idea. American classics, reinvented. Of course, you've seen the signature red, white and blue logo slapped on everything from polo shirts to beach towels. An empire born in 1985 that turned preppy into a global phenomenon. But while Dad dressed a generation, Ali decided to walk her own catwalk, one that's not reliant on riding her father's fashion coattails. And Tommy's vision was pure genius, turning the everyday into aspirational. He grabbed classic American style, threw it in a blender with boldness and a dash of rebellion, and out popped a brand that became a household name faster than you could say, "Do you have that in a medium?" But Ali, while enjoying the perks of growing up Hilfiger, is no chip off the old block, and she's been quietly building her own legacy, dabbling in everything from art to design, and even a bit of reality TV where, let's face it, Hilfiger's bank account does come in handy. Speaking of perks, it's not exactly a bad life when you've got access to Daddy's lavish real estate portfolio, and Ali's probably taken more than a few selfies inside the Palm Beach oceanfront mansion Tommy flipped for a cool $41.4 million. Or maybe she prefers the rustic charm of the 22-acre Greenwich, Connecticut estate, complete with 6 bedrooms, 7 bathrooms, and enough gardens to throw a Gatsby-level party. And when she's had her fill of Connecticut countryside, she could always hop down to the Miami mansion, 10,300 square feet of pure look-at-me luxury, crammed with bold design choices and an art collection that makes most galleries look like thrift stores. But let's not forget the crown jewel of the Hilfiger fleet, Flag, the $46 million, 203-foot mega yacht that's essentially a floating palace. Picture this: 4 decks, 7 guest cabins, room for 12 of your closest friends, plus 17 staff members to wait on you hand and foot, and a master suite fit for royalty. And did we mention the 2 bathrooms with heated stone floors? For those who think a little splash of luxury isn't enough, there's also a pool, a gym, a jacuzzi, and just for kicks, a water slide. It's the sort of lifestyle most people dream of, and for Ali, it's just Tuesday. But instead of turning into another rich kid content with designer labels and mega yachts, Ali struck out on her own. She dabbled in TV with MTV's Rich Girls back in 2003. The show was the original peek into the glamorous and sometimes ridiculous lives of the wealthy. It offered Ali a front-row seat to the world of public attention, good and bad. Not an easy thing to handle when you're just trying to figure out who you are beyond the Hilfiger name stitched into your DNA. Ali's creative ambitions go beyond the screen, though. She's an artist, a designer, and a creative consultant, blending the aesthetic instincts she picked up from her father's world with her own fresh perspective. And unlike most heiresses who are content to splash around in the shallow end of fame, she dove into advocacy work, raising awareness for Lyme disease, a battle she's been fighting herself. It's a cause that's clearly close to her heart, and she's turned her personal struggle into a public mission. But to fully appreciate Ali Hilfiger's place in the world, it's essential to first recognize the colossal shadow cast by her father, Tommy Hilfiger. Certainly, the man behind the iconic red, white and blue logo wasn't handed a pre-packaged empire. He built it with entrepreneurial grit, one stitch at a time. Born in 1951 in the quiet town of Elmira, New York, Tommy Hilfiger was the second of 9 children in a family that believed deeply in hard work, and his father was a watchmaker, his mother a nurse, and together they raised their children with a commitment to Catholic values that emphasized responsibility and resilience. But, for Tommy, school wasn't particularly inviting. His dyslexia made academic success elusive, yet this challenge didn't snuff out his ambitions. And by the time he hit his teenage years, he was already toying with fashion. Armed with little more than a knack for finding and reworking jeans, Tommy would buy bulk, customize the pieces, and sell them to friends. It wasn't runway ready, but it was enough to ignite his passion for design, and this small venture was the prelude to a career that would see him go from local hustler to global-style mogul. Then, in 1969, at just 18, Tommy took a leap that most would have hesitated to make. He opened his first store, People's Place, in upstate New York, targeting the era's counterculture crowd. Thus, the racks were filled with bell-bottoms, incense and rock-and-roll-infused styles. However, while the store was initially popular, its success was fleeting. By 1977, People's Place was bankrupt, a crushing blow for the young designer. Yet this failure didn't spell the end. It was more of a wake-up call. Tommy didn't shy away from the lesson. Instead, he embraced it, learning the harsh realities of the business world with an optimism that would become his hallmark. Amid this roller coaster, another significant chapter of his life began. In 1976, while managing People's Place, Tommy met Susan Kirona, a college student working at his Ithaca store. They married in 1980, beginning a partnership that lasted 2 decades and produced 4 children, Ali among them. As Tommy juggled his career's ups and downs, his family remained the constant thread in his life, even if the dynamics of his personal life often mirrored the fluctuating fortunes of his professional one. Therefore, by 1979, with People's Place shuttered, Tommy Hilfiger set his sights on New York City, a place as full of promise as it was rife with competition. The move wasn't just bold, it was necessary. New York was where Tommy believed he could make his mark, and he arrived with little more than his determination and the wisdom of past failures. It was indeed a gamble, but one that paid off, and by the mid-1980s he had launched his eponymous brand, Tommy Hilfiger, bringing his take on preppy, all-American fashion to a hungry market. His signature look, sharp lines, bold colors, and a clean, sophisticated casualness quickly resonated with fashion insiders. Yet, it wasn't just his design sensibility that propelled him to the forefront of the industry. It was his flair for self-promotion. A massive billboard in Times Square introduced him as one of the next great American designers, a bold move that placed him alongside household names in the industry. This daring strategy worked, and by the 1990s, Tommy Hilfiger was more than just a brand. It was a cultural phenomenon. His collections expanded beyond menswear into women's clothing, accessories, and fragrances, with the brand becoming synonymous with American style around the world. And there, amidst the meteoric rise, was Ali Hilfiger, born on the 26th of February 1985. Growing up in a household that was equal parts glamorous and chaotic, Ali was exposed early to the pressures and privileges that come with being part of a fashion dynasty. Yet, she wasn't content to simply bask in the glow of her father's accomplishments. Ali Hilfiger's childhood unfolded in a rarefied world of top-tier education, high society connections, and iconic New York addresses. Now, her early years were marked by enrollment at Convent of the Sacred Heart, a storied all-girls Catholic school on Manhattan's Upper East Side, where annual tuition easily tops $50,000. And the institution, known as much for its academic rigor as for its glittering alumni, has cultivated a formidable list of graduates. Figures like Lady Gaga, Caroline Kennedy, and Nikki Hilton Rothschild, each straddling celebrity and old money prestige, walked the same hallowed halls as Hilfiger. Therefore, Sacred Heart is a place where the daughters of New York's elite are prepped not just for college, but for their inevitable roles in society's upper echelon. From Sacred Heart, Ali transitioned to the Professional Children's School in Manhattan, a choice that underscored her artistic leanings. And this unique preparatory school, designed for young actors, dancers, and musicians, has served as an incubator for students who balance the demands of education with the rigors of professional artistic pursuits. Alumni from the Professional Children's School have gone on to impressive careers in the arts, and Hilfiger, immersed in this creatively charged environment, seemed destined to follow in those footsteps. Meanwhile, home life offered its own indulgences. The Hilfigers split their time between Manhattan and Greenwich, Connecticut, where their estate, valued at more than $40 million, sat among the grand properties that define the town. And Greenwich, renowned as a stronghold for old money and the wealthiest of the wealthy, has long been a haven for the ultra-rich. The family estate boasted luxurious amenities, tennis courts, stables, and a riding arena, among others. Yet it wasn't simply about the material comforts. Living in Greenwich placed Ali squarely in the heart of the upper-class world, a place where centuries of wealth accumulation have left a lasting imprint. Her proximity to this rarefied world of privilege thus no doubt shaped her perspective on success and opportunity. Yet, while Ali was immersed in these opulent surroundings, her father's career was rapidly transforming the fashion landscape. Tommy Hilfiger's brand, which started as a small menswear line, catapulted into a global phenomenon during Ali's childhood. The bold marketing campaigns of the late 80s, including the now famous Times Square billboard that brazenly declared Hilfiger the future of fashion, gave the brand an undeniable edge. By 1992, the company went public, and with new financial clout, Tommy Hilfiger Corp. Expanded at a blistering pace. And the 90s were a time of wild success for the Hilfiger name, particularly as the brand became a staple of youth culture, thanks in large part to its association with the rising hip-hop scene. Artists like Snoop Dogg and Aaliyah were frequently spotted in Hilfiger's signature designs, effectively turning the label into a symbol of coolness for a generation. As the brand grew, so did Ali's exposure to the glamorous and often demanding world of fashion. But life wasn't all smooth sailing. Ali's childhood and teenage years were marked by a significant personal struggle: Lyme disease. You see, at just 7 years old, she contracted the disease, but for more than a decade, the illness was misdiagnosed. Doctors attributed her symptoms to everything from fibromyalgia to psychiatric conditions, dismissing her struggles as something less severe. In the interim, Ali was pushing herself forward, performing on Broadway at 13 and later co-producing a World War II film, all while unknowingly battling the debilitating effects of Lyme. Then, her teen years coincided with a particularly unique moment in pop culture history. In 2003, Ali and her best friend, Jaime Gleicher, launched the MTV reality show Rich Girls. The show, which chronicled their shopping sprees and summer escapades, painted a glossy picture of life in the fast lane. Yet, behind the scenes, Ali was dealing with the harsh realities of her illness. Self-medicating to cope with the daily pain, she was, unbeknownst to her at the time, facing the peak of Lyme disease's progression. Her condition worsened to the point where her father, uncertain of how to help, had her admitted to a psychiatric facility. Only at age 18, after years of misdiagnosis, did doctors finally recognize Lyme disease as the root cause of Ali's symptoms. And that diagnosis, while long overdue, brought some relief and clarity to a young woman who had grown up under the scrutiny of the public eye, balancing privilege with personal battles. Therefore, while her father was reshaping the landscape of global fashion, Ali Hilfiger was quietly finding her own rhythm. In 2011, she co-founded the fashion label Neham alongside designer Neri Manivong, setting the stage for a line that merged feminine silhouettes with sharp, modern aesthetics. Their collaboration produced a series of stylish shirt dresses and contemporary pieces, yet the brand folded after just 2 years. However, the brief venture was far from a failure, and it marked Hilfiger's first real attempt to step out from under the shadow of her iconic family name and build a distinct identity in the fashion world. So, Ali's life has never lacked creative outlets. After NAM, her artistic focus shifted from clothing to canvas, as painting became both her craft and her sanctuary. Particularly as a mother juggling various roles, she found solace in the creative process, an outlet that allowed her to balance motherhood and artistry. Her efforts have since blossomed, with solo exhibitions at prestigious venues that have celebrated her work's exploration of themes like transformation, imperfection, and renewal. Drawing from Japanese aesthetics and her deep connection to nature, her art has gained recognition not only for its visual appeal, but for the introspective nature that accompanies it. Furthermore, she frequently discusses the challenges of balancing life as both an artist and a mother, particularly in the face of societal expectations to have it all. Her personal evolution is mirrored in her most recent series, which delves into the emotions of freedom and guilt, topics that resonate deeply with working mothers everywhere. This balance of responsibilities, both personal and creative, forms the backbone of much of her art, adding a layer of relatability to her public persona. Yet, while Ali's artistic work garners attention, her personal life remains more subdued than that of other fashionaires. In 2017, she married artist Steve Hash in an intimate beachside ceremony on the exclusive Caribbean island of Mustique, and the couple shares a daughter, Harley, who was born 2 years earlier. Together, Ali and Steve have created a life that revolves less around the spotlight and more around family and advocacy. Their home, a peaceful retreat far removed from the glitz and chaos of New York's fashion circles, offers a glimpse into their preference for a grounded, less glamorous lifestyle. Though her father, Tommy Hilfiger, continues to steer his fashion empire, Ali is steadily carving out her own path, defined by creativity, resilience, and a desire to shape a world both artistically and personally enriched. And now, we'd like to see you in the comments. Had you heard of Ali Hilfiger, her struggles with health, or her inheritance? And what is your opinion of the Tommy Hilfiger brand overall? We love hearing our active community give their personal opinions, so be sure to let us know your thoughts, and thanks again for joining us for another episode of Old Money Luxury. Cheers, until next time.